it can be inferred that the discussion in the passage of this person's work primarily, how would you guys say that? Blasengame's work primarily serves which one of the following purposes? Oh, so Blasingame was in the beginning of the second paragraph. What did this person argue? They were they were like, hey, but they're honest, right? Why did the person bring up their argument about honesty? Why did the author bring that up?
To say that it doesn't matter.
To say that it doesn't matter, right? So when this says, it can be inferred that the discussion in the passage of this work primarily serves which one of the following purposes? This is a primary purpose question, and you're trying to figure out, it's just asking, why did the author say this? So why did the author bring up this person's work? To basically show that integrity, even if they had integrity, even if they were honest, it doesn't matter, right? So that was the reason the author brought it up. A, it adds an authority's endorsement to the author's view that edited narratives ought to be treated as ghostwritten accounts. This person was not brought in to support the author's view. This person was brought in to present an opposing view, or at least a counter-argument that the author rejected. B, it provides an example of a mistaken emphasis in the study of autobiography. That's a little generic, but what was the mistaken emphasis? But they're honest, so it's okay, right? That's a mistaken emphasis on honesty. Now, I did not pick this right away. I'd just be like, okay, I could see how that might fit, but let's keep going. C, it presents an account of a new method of literary analysis to be applied to autobiography. No method was discussed, just said that the editors were honest. It illustrates the inadequacy of traditional approaches to the analysis of autobiography. It illustrates, I think it goes too far because I don't think the work itself illustrates the inadequacy of traditional approaches. The work itself is just like, hey, I think they remember that they're honest. That itself does not show that the traditional approaches were inadequate. Really, right, the author went on to say, hey, I don't think that's enough.
Yeah. It's not Blasengame's work, it's the discussion of Blasengame's work.
Okay, fair enough. I'm still I feel like this is still too strong. It illustrates the inadequacy of traditional approaches.
That's strong. It also doesn't necessarily say that those are the traditional approaches.
I'm taking issue with a few of these words. So what's the traditional approach?
I think
I got rid of that one because I didn't feel like there was any discussion of how it had always been approached.
How had it been approached? It's just that,
that's one way.
when you think of these things as authentic, be careful because I don't know if they are.
Well, but I think somehow question 17 sort of underscores that traditional perception of.
Question 17 talked about traditional?
No, like the readers of the autobiographies of African Americans that were published they had a common feeling towards.
They had a common presumption, right?
Presumption, right.
And their presumption was that all these things, all the facts that were recorded and written down, could be recounted without compromising the validity of the narrative as a product of an African American consciousness. Is that...
So couldn't that be
a traditional...
viewed as a traditional approach
to
the analysis of autobiography?
The analysis of autobiography? No, because I don't even know if that isn't... Are they analyzing it or are they just reading it? Right? Because at the end they talk about analysts, but this is just talking about readers. I'm not even sure what the approach is, or traditional approaches, let alone.
Anyway, that's what enticed me about that's what I found enticing about the option.
Well, let's keep it open for a second. So E, it emphasizes the importance of the relationship between the editor and the narrator. not the relationship, but the honesty of the editor, right? So that's different. So we're back to, let's say we're back to B and D, okay? So let's take a look at, remember, one thing about this answer choice, a primary purpose question is like a role or reasoning question in logical reasoning. The 5 answer choices are describing what's happening. So you can think of them as like must be true. Does this describe exactly what's happening? So let's take a look at B. It provides an example of a mistaken emphasis in the study of autobiography. Does the discussion of this guy's work provide an example of a mistaken emphasis in the study of autobiography?
Yeah, it's one specific person.
It's one specific person who says, oh, by the way, I think it's important to note that they were honest. And this person's like, I think that's a mistaken emphasis. I think you're emphasizing the wrong thing because I don't think it really matters. Now let's go to D. And I think this is kind of what we're struggling with. It illustrates the inadequacy of traditional approaches to the analysis of autobiography. Does the fact that someone emphasized their integrity show that traditional approaches are inadequate? I don't even, I'm still like, okay, what's the traditional approach? Like, okay, let's say it's this reading and presuming that these things were authentic. Does the fact that some people thought the editors were honest show that that approach was inadequate or didn't do a good enough job? I think the author's main point wasn't that these things are wrong. It's just that I'm not sure if they're right. So I feel like this is just too strong. Whereas like B is softer and it's very easy to see how each word describes what's happening.
Right, I see that, but I'm just saying that that's why I was tempted by.
Oh yeah, it's a tempting answer. I mean, we're struggling right now, or I'm struggling at least. But I feel like a lot of times with these description answers, like the correct answer, you can very clearly see how each word in the answer choice kind of matches up to something. Whereas in the most tempting wrong answer, it's like it's a little more cloudy. It's like it's forced, and you're having trouble matching words and phrases. Each one of the words and phrases to something in the passage. So, okay, cool. Let's